Hairless Toys is the album that I've made with Eddie Stevens. In this room, we wrote 35 songs in the space of 5 weeks last year. The reason why we could be so prolific in here in that period was, I think, because we didn't do much talking, we didn't do much stopping and evaluating what it was that we were doing. So when I was choosing the songs for this record, I had always in the back of my mind that we could make another record. We're kind of halfway through rehearsing the band, rehearsing the music side of it. Always an epic undertaking to take these studio records that I make and develop them into a live thing. But obviously we've got the best in the business with the old Eddie Stevens helping us out on that one.
At this time, she's fairly wild, you know, in some ways, in terms of like not conforming to what people think is normal. And so her imagination is allowed to sort of fly off without ever being told that it should be anchored. So sometimes the ideas might be quite extreme, but somehow within those extreme ideas something brilliant comes out of it. And I think that's that fertile imagination thing, bit of a cliche, but it's true.
When it's all revealed, must we seem to be believed?
I started in music by meeting a guy in a party in Sheffield many years ago, and purely by accident I happened to use a phrase that I had been using all night on everybody else. Do you like my tight sweater? Trying to chat him up because he wasn't fit. And he took me to his studio that night, in a big studio, a proper commercial studio that he co-ran. And he took me and he recorded me saying that phrase. It became the start of a relationship and then a career. I kind of just protect the way that it started by sort of waiting for the right thing to just come along, and then I'll do it, you know, when I feel it instinctively.
The best way of describing how it sounds is to go in there where we did all the writing and have a look around, because basically we turned everything on and bashed it and started just writing some stuff together, and had never really done that, although we did have a go about 15 years earlier where we wrote a masterpiece called Dirty Junky Fucking Slag. Am I allowed to say this? No, probably not. Anyway, we worked on a masterpiece that was never released, of course, because it was far too filthy. Still got it somewhere. Apart from that, we never really did anything together, so this wasn't easy, right? But it was natural, if that makes any sense.
Let me do it!
No, it's just a game! It's just a game!
I would consider myself a visual artist as much as anything else, really. I just directed the video for the first single of Hairless Toys, and there was some trepidation making the visuals for Hairless Toys, because obviously Overpowered was such a strong visual idea. This notion of this kind of crazy starlet sort of fashion queen in these mundane environments and everything, and it was really perfect for the time. It was perfect for the moment, that fashion, the way that fashion was in that moment and everything. And so it was kind of a very hard act to follow, and it's a very long time ago, you know. So I was worried that, you know, I was rusty, and the wheels had to kind of be, the cogs had to go around a bit.
Who's exploiting who? I just don't know who's exploiting who.
I went to look for vintage clothes to style the shoot for the sleeve, which became quite a big thing in the end. I mean, in the CD case, you find a booklet, and there's 8 looks, 8 photographs to go with each song. They're all slightly different facets of this character that I've built for Hairless Toys, this woman who is somebody kind of from my memory, a little bit like my mother, a little bit It's sort of retro. There's a little bit of a spooky element to it. It's sort of like a childhood memory to the way that I styled it. And I did that with vintage clothes. I did it with clothes that look great but don't smell great. They're all made of nylon and they're kind of slightly ugly, and she's slightly sort of lady of leisure, slightly suburban, just a bit off, you know. First we have a sort of short tour of the UK in May, really just some warm-up gigs in Manchester and some other places in the UK, and then we do a show at the Roundhouse in London. That's the first stuff that we do. And then we're going to go and do festivals all summer, I think. The album comes out May 2015.
So everything I just said, just ignore, just forget about it, all right? Yeah, she's a real pleasure to work with, a lovely girl. Beautiful, don't you think? Yeah. Doesn't look a day over 18. Yes, where were we?